Thanks for joining us today, Ashley. It's great to have you.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be having this conversation with you.
I've been so excited about this conversation because I feel like I've been tracking the EMR documentation world for a long time. And when I found Therabyte, I was really excited to find one that is made by an OT, is more OT centric. I think so many times we end up using PT centric
Yeah.
options that I don't think are the best for us or for our clients. So I'm just excited to learn more about Therabyte today. And to start us off, I wanted to hear a little bit about how Therabyte got started.
Yeah. So I was working in private practice. It was my first time working in private practice. And I loved working with the clients, but I really dreaded invoicing and charting. I had a paper planner and Word docs and Excel sheets. And I felt like I was wasting so much time just like copying and pasting the name and, double checking hours and just making sure it all added up. And then I had to manually move everything around, was it paid? Was it not paid? And I just it really turned me off from private practice. And I felt like there's got to be a better way. There's no way that this is what I'm doing and that there isn't something out there. And so we started looking, my husband and we couldn't find anything. Now, this was quite, this was almost 9 years ago when we first had the idea. It took us a bit to, I think, get our confidence and our feet underneath us to then actually dive in and decide to build the platform. But it really came from his push in saying, we can build this. We can take these ideas that you have and put it into a digital platform. And so he started doing mock-ups. So just design mock-ups, and he'd be like, what do you think of this for the client portal? And that's really where it started.
Oh, I'm so glad that you took steps towards solving this problem. I think we're probably close to the same age, and I so relate to sitting there, probably especially around 10 years ago, and being like, I feel like my whole job is just copy and pasting.
Yeah.
This does not feel skilled.
No, why am I doing this? Yeah.
So you set out on the journey. Tell us a little bit about how you would describe Therabyte today.
So it really has come from being just these little bits and pieces to being this all-in-one platform that will take you from doing online digital intake with your clients right through scheduling, documentation, building out treatment plans and goals, and then right into invoicing. And then we're just adding in payment processing. So it's really gone from being this documentation invoicing to really going from that beginning point in your journey with your client all the way to payment.
Mm-hmm. And that speaks to how much therapy has changed too, since when you and I first got going too, where it's so much more about that customer journey.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about platforms like yours, how they aid us so much in that. And I'm sure there's exciting developments yet to come in the upcoming years for us too.
Well, and that's what I really wanted to give people. I think stepping into private practice, we want to serve, our interests, our ideal client, right? We want to serve our ideal client, but coming up with what does that look like? What's that flow? And so I wanted to not only give people a flow of working, but the tools to do it so that they don't have to worry about the admin side. They can just step in, adopt what we've built in Therabyte and, be good at doing therapy and not worry about the rest of it.
Yes. And meet our customers or our clients' expectations. I think about myself as a patient now, and I want text reminders. I want my own portal. I just expect those. And when I don't have those, I'm like, why am I doing business here when I could do it somewhere else?
Yeah, it's so true. And that was another piece that was really important to us as we were building, was not only to have things like text reminders or a client portal, but a client portal that invited the client to be there, that gave them the option of looking at notes. And then I have people, are they going to see all of my notes? No, just the ones that you share with them. But it just creates a different relationship with your client because there's this sharing of information that goes both ways, right? And that's organized in one place. I remember chatting with a family I was working with, and they had a speech path they were working with. I was like, oh, do you have that report? Do you know where it is? well, I don't know, like it's in a stack of papers somewhere in my house. But how great would it be for a parent to say, oh yeah, I know all of the notes are there. I can go and reference them anytime and know what's going on in therapy for myself or for my child.
Yeah. Yeah, we know from the research how important shared decision making is. And I look back over my career and I'm like, I feel awful because I know we weren't on the same page about goals. We weren't on the same page about the process. But part of that was we didn't have systems like you're building to help us get on the same page where there's like a local or there's a central location of information.
And I think building in best practices, right? Like you knew you needed to do that, but you didn't have the support or the systems to do it. So when we build our platform, we're building it, looking at what our best practice is. Well, it's best practice if you have that collaboration with your client. So let's build it into the workflow. Let's build it into what we do.
Yep. There's so many different types of OT practices and businesses out there. I'm curious, like right now in the state that Therabyte's in, who's a good fit and who have you found isn't a good fit?
So because I'm coming from the lens of solo pediatric private practice, naturally that's just where it started and how it's developed. We're seeing a lot of solo practitioners across different practice areas. And we do have clinics in various practice areas as well. I am told by people who trial the platform or who use it that it has a very peds feel to it. So unintentionally or intentionally, there's definitely a peds feel to the platform, but we have users across the spectrum. And then when we get into the way that you invoice also. So in the States, it would be cash-based practices. We don't have insurance integration at this point. And then in Canada, we do really well with bulk invoicing. So most platforms will invoice on the appointment. And there's a lot of practices that have to do bulk invoicing or batch invoicing, however you want to phrase that.
I've been on this kick of, I feel like every therapist should have a side hustle cash-based practice, like just a small entity that they do on the side, kind of get their business brain going, have a backup plan. So if I'm here in the United States and I want to have a small solo niche practice, would that be a good, yes, that's
We've got you.
Okay.
And our price, the other thing that was really important to us was pricing it affordably. So we have a tier that's $36 a month, and that caters to that person that's only going to take on maybe 2 or 3 clients, maybe 4 or 5. But it gives you that automation and that flow and the security of storing your data without being this huge commitment. So, I mean, easily you pay that back within an hour of your therapy time, right? Yeah. Like it's not even, and I've definitely had some people say, oh, I don't know if I can afford that. And I'm like, oh, once you get into private practice and you see how much time you're going to waste between different platforms, really, you can't afford not to. I mean, anyways, but sometimes we have to experience those things before we're ready to call in for help, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I definitely think of it too as just like an investment in your personal brand to have that. If you do have like a side hustle, like independent practice, I think we should all have that. And that's such a good investment for us.
Yeah. One of the things we also built for, and that really caters to the solo practitioner, is a landing page. And so they have just this, it's very plug and play. It's not complicated at all. It doesn't have a lot of features, but if you just have this really little side hustle, it is enough to give you an online presence so that people can search you.
Oh, I'm glad you're catering to that. Is that the main part of your market now, or do you feel like it's more clinics?
So the goal in 2023 is to shift more towards clinics. The solo practitioner will always be my passion because that was me and that's where I came from. And we started there because it was easier to capture that group. And so we will always service that solo practitioner. But as we move into 2023, we're really looking to support more on the clinic side of things. But they have slightly different needs. They need more reporting, all things that are going to benefit the solo practitioner, really. But there's just more of those integrated pieces when you've got a large team that's doing various things, and then not just OT, right? Usually those teams include other professions like speech pathologists or
Mm.
counselors or psychologists.
Hmm. So speaking of 2023, what else is on the docket for you guys? What's your vision for the next 1 to 2 years?
Well, we have just been pumping out features for the last 2-3 years, just like one after another. And in 2020, we did a little bit of cleanup. And so it's been a couple of years now, and we are looking at coming back. Some of the features that we've built in the last couple of years, we got them out there, they're usable, but we really want to improve the user experience. And so that's going to be that focus, as well as supporting teams with more of the reporting that they need to function. So those are our two big focuses moving into 2023.
Awesome. I just see the group that you're supporting being just such a critical part of our OT profession. I know you service SLPs too, but thinking specifically of OT, just thinking big picture, how you see yourself supporting this really critical part of our profession and hopefully having it grow. Um, yeah, how do you see yourself in that role?
You were mentioning that you're an advocate of private practice. You think everyone should have a side hustle. And I feel the same way. And I am looking to build more around the Therabyte brand that isn't just the EMR, but it's also supporting people getting into private practice. I think there's so much learning and freedom that can come from having that business sense and stepping into that. But there's a lot of people really hesitant or who just don't know what to do first. And so I want to be a part of empowering those people to take that step and not have it be 20 years later or 25 years later. I hear that story often. Oh, I've been thinking about private practice for this long. It's like, it doesn't have to be that scary, especially when you're not alone. And so I really want to build this community of people, of practitioners supporting each other in taking that step.
Well, Ashley, this was super fun. Thank you so much for your time today and just telling us more about Therabyte.
Thank you, Sarah.